trigger warning for today. This episode is on addiction. If you're in a vulnerable place with your recovery, I recommend setting a safety plan and taking it at a slower pace. Also, I recorded this episode the morning after the Mexico national team won the World Cup match in Guadalajara against Korea. And I love Korea. Also, my mom happened to be in Guadalajara. My family's from Guadalajara, so that was really exciting to me. And I got to watch the tail end of the game. And just shout out to my peeps. Shout out to any soccer fans, too. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Love is Healing podcast, where we bring in life experts to talk about all things complex trauma, addiction, frequency medicine, functional medicine, and everything in between. Thank you for joining us again today. Today we have a guest, Javier, Felix, and he's a guy that's here joining us today. We're going to be talking a little bit about his background and life story and resiliency and some takeaways for recovery.
Hi, hello.
Hi, Javier.
How are you, Magnolia?
I'm happy. How are you?
Good. Excited? Happy?
Yay. Yeah,
hmm
good, good.
Yeah.
Ándale, pues. So tell us a little bit about you. Your family's from Mexico. Where in Mexico are they from?
My family is actually from Arandas, Jalisco. That's where my grandmother from my father's side is. And from my mom's side, I kind of say that they're from TJ, but they're all from Jalisco. But all of them were already in TJ. And from TJ, they came here a little bit, my mom and my dad, and that's where they met in LA. But honestly, I'm from TJ. I am Tijuanense, and that's what I am, and that's what I consider myself. And I'm so like very happy to have that background because it's just right around the block from here, in reality. Yeah, it's
Very convenient, yeah,
Southern California and TG are real close to, to each other, so I love it.
for sure.
But my Mexico is definitely not the the normal kind of Mexico. Mine's more like a city, and the real Mexico has like horses and cool stuff like that, and that's really beautiful, too. Just a little further out.
Yeah. My family's from fake Mexico too. They're from Guadalajara. At least that's where they grew up. So I feel like, yeah, you lose a little bit out on that because it is so industrialized. But
Yeah, my grandpa, he's from a pueblo. He actually has made a church to like donated money to create a church in his pueblo, and that was pretty cool to go and see it. And they like gave him his regard. I got to sing with the mariachi there. That was fun too. Um, yeah, so I got to see a little bit of that, but it's really like far. And my grandpa was kind of he was an addict of alcohol while I was growing up, so I didn't get to hear all the cool stories. Now he's like super cool, but I'm barely, I'm getting them a little later. I don't
yeah,
know.
I feel that. Thank you. Okay, let's talk a little bit about your addiction story. That's one of the things that brought us together to record. And I hear that your grandpa had some addiction with alcohol. What are some things that you've learned about your story that might help someone else in terms of seeing the different patterns throughout the generations, seeing how it impacted you and what you've been able to make of it?
I think addiction is really, really intense. It's a disease. It's not like I chose it the first 2 weeks, or I chose it when I was hurting. But once you're hurting and you use it and it copes, you learn that that coping is okay. But it's the further you get in it and the better you get at it, um, the the more disconnected you get. Like I remember that they were like movies in my head that I would live day by day, but it wasn't a movie, it was my life. And now that I have clarity, I'm like, wow, that was a big difference. But it's like if you ask me like, oh yeah, do you remember that? No, maybe a dream, like kind of like how we believe dreams are. So it's just like the movie Click, where you're wishing your life away, if you will, and the repercussion as far as in the what is it, the day after or the coming down of it or whatever. It's the most horrible, horrid pain. But you know what? If you just pass through those couple of days, it does get so much better. I used medicine. They gave me medicine, like 7 different kinds of pills, and that was able to help me. But I don't think I would have came back from that. It was too deep in, you know. So they used 7 different medicines, and I was an IOP. And the first week, I could just go to the class, and by 3 o'clock, I was already like dying to like falling asleep in the car driving here home. And it was so hard. It is really hard to come down, but I would just give them the advice of like, there is a way better tomorrow, and it always feels so much better to be healthy than not healthy because every time, every single day that you're high and sick, you know, and you understand, and it's okay, but it's not okay. It's okay for today, but you know that you can stop and there's help. That's the coolest part, that there is help and they do have answers. Even if, because I would believe, like, dude, you've never been an addict. You don't know, you know. But now that I have myself personally, because prior to this I used to also be like, "Psst, how can you be an addict? Come on, you go to work, let's go, come on, you're too gangster." Like in prison, I took this program that took a year off of my time because it's called the RDAP, the Residential Drug and Abuse Program, and it was cool, but I had never been an addict really, so I didn't understand the depth of it. And I would hear these feed me gangster vatos, and they would say like that you would choose your family over the drug, or the drug over your family, and you would do this over that. I'm like, man, get out of here. So I kind of thought, I was like, when I went into it, and even my friend that kind of like gave it to me that he didn't want to, he would tell me like, no, no, no. I'm like, I'm the grown up. I'm the adult. I'll choose. But it is accurate. You will, and it's not because you want to, and it's not because the drug is better than your family, but it's like you can't be with your family if you're not drugged. You're dying, you're drowning. It's horrible. I cannot explain to you how deep it is. I feel so much empathy for these people because I'm like, I was just you a year ago, you know, and it's not technically, it's been 2 years, but my brain, like, I just passed by my Walmart and my friend lives there. You know what I mean? I would help him and he would hook me up with a little bit of meth. Oh, like, why, God, why? And there's nothing we can do because we don't believe that we have a problem. I mean, while I'm an addict, I didn't believe I had a problem, and there's nothing I can do, healthy Javier, because they don't have a problem in their mind. They're just okay. They're just chillaxing in the grass, you know, taking a little toque. And it's like, no, you're living your life here right now. Yeah. My only thing is there is help and that God is good. hmm Like he does have an answer if you want it with all your soul. And if you don't want it, that's okay too. But there's consequences and they really, really burn and hurt with all the power that you can imagine. And the harder you try, the more you'll burn unless you kill yourself. And that's not okay. It's unfortunate. That really sucks because you did have a chance the whole time and people love you. You know, even the people that distance themselves, those are the healthiest people because they cannot see you die. And that took me a whole other like a whole other lifetime to understand. Because
Say
some people
that.
left me,
Yeah.
I felt they left me, but it wasn't that they left me. They were just protecting themselves. And I appreciate that it was my aunt and specifically. And I love that she did that because then I understood because she's the one that also bailed me out of prison the first time. So I knew she loved me. You know, like she did it without even consenting her husband. So I'm like, okay. But then she stopped talking to me without consenting her husband too. And I'm like, well, that's not cool. I can choose if I want to go to drug rehab or not. But it's like I can't choose for her to talk to me, and that's okay. So when I got it all and I saw that, I'm like, boundaries. I love those because they make sense. And I just, you know, but anyway, I love that we have to, I guess, go through certain opportunities to get refined, or else we're gonna get refined in this thing called I don't even know, I forgot what it's called, but it's right before you go to heaven or hell. What is it called? Purgatory. Yeah, they call, and if you pay attention and if you try to understand, you see it's like either I get refined in the world or I'm gonna get refined in over there with the, you know, the way the purgatory is, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I already did what I had to do here, so I'll continue paying the consequences for now here. I'm okay. The blessing is that there is an opportunity to change. As long as there's willingness, there's a way.
Hmm.
Mhm. I can't believe there's a way to but then it takes years of education for them to be there. Because I'm like, why isn't there more of these programs? And it's like, it's because it's really hard to get here, to be able to see and ask the right questions, because people have to unlock themselves out of that location that knot that they're in, right? And
Hmm.
but you guys, therapists, right, cool people like you, help us like ask the questions where it's like, oh, ah, oh, ding. But if it's like you can't just, I can't walk you there. I was like, Javier, why are you still doing drugs? Javier, why? And it's like, what do you mean, why? It's like slowly but surely, and that's tough too. That's really unfortunate because I wish our brain didn't do that to us, but it is what it is. And you
Hmm.
guys have unlocked the way.
Looking back at your journey, what set you up to use? Do you know? Like if you look at yourself back in middle school, high school, childhood, what do you think made you vulnerable?
I think more than anything, just try the let's see, a ver, mande, let me see what it is. Excuse me. And then from there, the feeling sadness. I remember I started smoking cigarettes because I was feeling sad or whatever, and it would feel better. Like it was just like, okay, okay. And then with drugs is again, I wasn't used, I felt abandoned. So from what I gathered with my people, I felt abandoned. And it reoccurred, right? My mom left us when I was 8 years old with my dad, and she left us for another person. And then that's cool. But she kind of always, that was her option, right? She always had another choice, and that's so cool. So growing up, and then COVID, sorry, when COVID happened, I that resurfaced because I used to work out every day with my partners. People used to come over, and just an active lifestyle. And when everybody left, I kind of got too quiet, and it resurfaced, I guess. And that's what made me want to look, because I had already tasted the drug in prison. I was like, I know that that's what works, and I kind of looked for it, I guess, and that's kind of what made me get to that point. But it was part of this abandonment issue that I hadn't resolved from my younger years. Not crazy.
Yeah, just how emotions can be the drivers of the bus, huh? If we don't address them. And even though people are like, oh, yeah, it's not that serious, get over it. It is that serious, actually.
Yeah, and you know what? What got me to the drugs was working really hard, and I wanted to be like Superman. That was my original thought. I'm like, I'm gonna be like Superman. I'm gonna get to work extra hours, and I was doing everything. And I was making money too. That's why working works. That's what I've been noticing. Working works, and it was going lovely, but that wasn't life. And again, I fell into it. I was like, oh, I can work longer, and I could keep going, and I don't have to eat. It was pretty cool. It worked as I progressed in finding out and getting healing, I learned that it was from an abandonment issue. Like it did, like, that's where it occurs. It's beyond the reasons as to why you thought. It's like, oh, that's why. I was looking for something to heal from feeling this, that, or the other. And at the end, I guess I never felt worthy. So Javier needs to go look for attention or opportunities and try to fill that void. And until I figured it all out, that I am worthy, that I do deserve to be here, not only because Jesus died for me, but also because I am here, and that's what it is. And I am worthy. So it was really hard. I literally had to say I am worthy. I mean, if you know what I mean, from knowing from IOP, I literally was like a little kid. I am worthy. And she would say it, Javier, and I would be like, I can't say that. I can't. At first, it was so hard to say I am worthy. Are you kidding? It sounded and it felt ridiculous, but as you get it, and it's like, I am worthy. I am worthy. It's cool, but it was really hard. And that's kind of how I've been able to not go back into drugs, because that's another day. There's days where you're like, mm, oh, and it's like, and it's just right there. And it's like, no, you are worthy. You don't need those. You could do it on your own. You could figure it out. That is not an option. You want to die? It's an everyday battle to, like, not for the wants or anything, but it's an everyday battle to maintain all these different filters, at least personally in my mind, because I keep God filter, I keep this therapy filter. Because if I feel like an inaccurate belief or something thrown at me, at first I take it personal, because that's how I've always reacted, right? Personal. And I'm like, oh no, wait, she's not doing it because of me, or they're not doing it because of me. They're doing it because of their own thing. And then I'm like, okay, I can't take it personal. Now let me just see the what was thrown at me, and I try to like decipher it as in, with God and empathy. And I'm like, oh, she just needs attention. Oh, she just, okay, what about this? But that's taken forever to understand. And I continue to push. I'm like, I need to know, right? I always want to know the answers. So I keep trying to find the opportunity or like because okay, I can't be like, it's because they don't love me. Oh, it's because they no. Let's figure out the real deeper reason. Because I've already passed that page. I already outgrew that section of the homeostasis process or whatnot. Right? Yeah.
That's good. That's
hmm
a lot
And
of
it's all
explanation.
because of the drugs. Like if I would have never gotten sick, I would have never gotten healthy. I just always would have been sick. See, so let me explain that to you again. If I would have never became a drug addict and gotten sick that way, I would have always been unhealthy, thinking I was healthy because I just always knew. I know me. I know Javier. Firme Protestant. Let's go. Come on. Levanta el pecho, morro. Kick your ass. Let's keep. No. And it's like, no, love, empathy. And then I got healed. And you know what's the most magical thing that happened to me after I got healed? I was able to get my wife pregnant. Prior to that, we did IVF because we couldn't get pregnant for years.
Okay.
So we were unpregnant for 8 years. You know, the at 5 years, I think we were able to IVF with Luna, but again, nonetheless, it was a pregnancy, but it was not real, I guess. It was real, right? Because she was did have, but it was like processed or whatever. So it's interesting that once I got really healthy, then it worked. Because prior to that, I used to work out and be active and do everything, so I was healthy, but I wasn't healthy. Does that make sense? In my brain was not. So I was able to have a kid after IOP. Yeah,
Anybody
isn't that
can.
ridiculous? I was like, thank you, Jesus. Absolutely, it was a gift. It's like it was either, oh, you stopped using drugs, here's a gift, which God does not work like that. God doesn't give you gifts because you're doing good. It's always grace. God has grace for you, just enough. And it was like, okay, well, was it IOP? Obviously, how? What? Was it someone else? Maybe. No, I'm just kidding. That's like, no, it was that you weren't healthy. You were never healthy. No, it doesn't work that way. I was like, wow. There's a lot more to that, but I can give you the scientific, all the stuff if I could. But it's like I promise this happened to me. It's real. I'm not lying. It's accurate. That's the coolest part that it's all real. I can't even invent this.
Yeah.
We cannot.
I,
Mm-mm.
I think with denial, which is natural, of course, with addiction, that makes it easy to be in denial. Something of like, oh yeah, well, I'm fine. I still have a job. My body looks good. I'm stacked. I'm making good money. Yeah. What's going on inside your heart? What's going on spiritually?
Mm. And it's so heavy. And so many people are able to do it. There's so many working,
Yes.
what is it, working addicts, and it's okay, but is it? And when I thought about it like that, I'm like, I cannot live like that. I cannot live because that'll be forever. That'll be my forever life, and I don't even see that. So I rather go hard or go home. And I did. Like I was all skinny and I was like, it's because I'm going hard, I'm gonna do it all or not. I never really cared about opinions. I did care because obviously, right? But in reality, what they said to me, it never affected me. It was after when I processed it, right? But at the time, I'm like, whatever, I'll still do whatever I need to do. And I've always been that way since I was a little kid. So it's just I needed to find out the hard way at everything. I needed to figure it out. And I did.
Yeah,
And it
you
hurt.
did. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I've been able to get something good out of it instead of just seeing the bad, proactive, positive, and then I get to see the blessing that it was to be an addict and the empathy that I have for them is uncanny. Before I used to pass by and give them a business card. I'm like, if you really want money, here's my business card. And I remember when I was sick, there was days that I couldn't even move. I'm like, a ver, you would have lost your job and then tomorrow, what? It's like, shut
Humbled
up,
you.
dude. You don't even. It's hard. It was hard.
It humbled you a lot, huh?
hmm It re-educated me to be humble. It gave me what I really thought I was. Because in prison, I was like, well, I'm a paisa. I run paisa. I'm a big dog. Let's do this. I'm humble because I heard their stories. Since I was 18, I was in and out. So I heard their stories and I learned from them. Oh, there was a lot of older men because it was a federal prison. So there was a lot of firme people that had a lot of money, people that didn't. So you got to see a whole different array, and I got to see hundreds because I would talk to everybody. I would talk to blacks, whites, and just got an opportunity because I was a young one. I was like, hey, morro, and I was me being tough, but I still looked all weak. It's just cool. It was cool. It was a cool opportunity. Good people. I love the people because you get to see the truth. So now I see people that are all tatted. I don't even see their tats. And I feel somebody intimidated. I'm like, why are you scared? Oh, and I'm like, why? Oh, you guys are still in that. You have the lens. I don't remember those things anymore sometimes. That's so funny. And it's cool because there's those things are unnecessary notions or whatnot.
It's judging people by their appearances.
But yeah, but it's all in our own brain. Like we feel that they're judging us. They're not, they don't know, nobody cares. Most people are just so worried about themselves and how they're looking and how what they're feeling that nobody's even paying attention to us.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're all just focused on ourselves so much, thinking that others are thinking about us. And if they are, who cares?
For anybody that's on the fence and is like, listen, I hear you, and that's not for me because I failed at everything before and I've tried to quit. And what makes this time any different? I don't think I could do it. People are telling me to go to therapy. People are telling me to go to IOP. I can't do it. I suck. I failed
Okay.
at everything else. What would you say?
I would say it's okay. Just keep going the way you are, and you will get to the most rocky bottom. And you know that it's always at nighttime when you're all alone and there's not like they know. I know that they know. And it's okay. We can be honest, at least with that. You know what I mean? I would tell them this. Okay. But just remember, every day you'll go deeper, and that's okay. Or some days you'll stay at the same, but it's still, you're not progressing no matter what until you accept help, until you accept you're not capable of it yourself. Oh, but it's because if I try and if I go work out, nothing. You will not be able to because that moment of sadness or despair or that one argument or somebody says something stupid, those are triggers. And as soon as the trigger happens, even if you tried 3 days sober, and then most people that use like crystal meth and stuff are not going to stay 3 days sober because the whole 3 days you just want to die. You need help. You need the medicine. You need those things that they offer that you're in denial. It's like, I don't want medicine. You're using rat poison. What more does it matter at this point? But everybody gets there or they die. And that sucks because, but honestly, I would have rather die than go through that process then. But now I'm like, oh my God, thank you, God, that you made me go through that process and not die. Yeah, I love life now. And before, oh my God, shut up, close the door, turn off. I hated life, dude. I'm like, for what? Useless. I don't give a. I don't. And now it's like, oh my God, my daughters are so cool. Oh my God, my son is really cool. He plays soccer like a champ. Or just these little things like I don't know. I'm like, wow, my wife, like, she still loves me after everything. How is that even real? I don't get it. Only Jesus, only God. Like, it's a coincidence. It's not. It's not coincidence. Come on, dude. Yeah, I don't know. Have you watched yeah, Sheldon Cooper?
I've not, I keep hearing about it, but I've not watched it. What's
What
that?
I've known Sheldon Cooper since the Big Bang Theory, since before like since 2012 or 2011. My girlfriend at the time, right, my wife now, we used to watch it, so I remember for a long time. But as a little kid show, I guess I heard it. Father Mike Schmidt. I don't know if you know him, but Father Mike Schmidt is the guy that convinced me that the Catholics were right. That Catholicism was the truth, That's Father Mike Smith is the one that was just like, and he spoke about this Sheldon and Sheldon, what he says is that the precision of the gravity field and all these like the scientific stuff, but the point is the coincidence of it being so precise, because if it would be 1% less, 1% more, is where it's like the world would be flat or like it would explode or like something like that, like fall or so, just different things where it's like it would not be. But the precision and the exactitude is so exactly that the question of God and all that stuff is up to you, girl. Like it's like you see what I'm saying? It's like you go do you. But yeah, that's what I heard from recently, and I was like, yeah, it's because come on, man. Unless you want to, yeah, it's a coincidence. Even like when people call you and you're thinking about them, is all like part of that energy. And that's not spoken in church and stuff, the energies, but I mean, if I feel it Even if it's not spoken about, it's like, okay, let me make connection with it. And then other people know because they're talking about it. And then you can ask questions with my friend Lucia, right? The chat GPT. So it's like, come on, you just don't want to learn and you just want to be ignorant and be right. Be right in your own light with your lenses. But it's not their fault. So then again, the empathy is, oh. I love my new brain was so silly because I get to see so many little things that are so new to me that I'm just like, oh, dang it, cosita. Like I just have so much love for like it's just like, dang, I'm so sorry. You know what
You
I
have
mean?
a lot of empathy for yourself as you see these moments of clarity, huh?
Oh yeah, I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry. You were so cool and thought you knew so much, and you were so, oh my goodness, you know. I loved. I heard your story on your on the first podcast that you kind of put. Um, and I heard that you did have intentionality and at that point when I was there like I just remember like envision like these different opportunities that you've like you in marching band or you and I see you and I like see like the fact that your brain was like intentional and then I feel like I was just like a wandering soul, you know, like I didn't like I was there but I wasn't there. It's so funny. I'm like, oh man, dude, like if only you would have known. And it's cool and it's okay. I love it now. Like I'm like, it's okay. Because I get to see this cool stuff that people that did and I get to see all the postgraduate like I don't know if you do or not, but I mean you have so many different acronyms that it's gangster, you know? So I'm like, wow, that is powerful. And before I thought school was gonna take away from money, I was like, no, it's because school is a waste of time and you know, it's just all inaccurate. It's like it's not about school or money, it's about the education and the learning and it's like, because education is ultimately gold because they can't take that away from you. Money comes and goes and it does not is not worth anything. But what you learn and what you get out of life is like wow. And obviously from books, I got my a lot of my life experiences from other people's stories in prison. So I'm like, okay. So books, I read so much when I was in the shoe in segregation. I would almost read a chapter, like a whole chapter book, like a day. I would read I don't know, everything. I don't remember right now, but like all the good books. And it was so fun for a little bit, right? Because I would go into the story and just carry on. But those are things that I really didn't do as I was a child, and I could have.
Absolutely.
Very true.
And obviously, I think human suffering we can't get away from, right? And then it manifests in different ways. And addiction is one of those ways.
Yeah.
And though I am sorry to hear that you experienced so much strife and so many challenges, I am also grateful that you were able to bring so much healing around and show your wife, show your kids what's possible when you really apply yourself and when you're really committed to turning your life around. I was raised by an addict in recovery, an alcoholic in recovery, and because he went through so many different things, he had so many challenges, he had an unshakable faith in God and really high standards in a way that it just shaped me to be so intentional because he had so much suffering. He was able to turn it around. Here I am now. You and I are talking. We're recording this podcast. People are going to be listening to this episode, and that's what can happen in
Hmm.
recovery.
Yep. And I went to a funeral 2 days ago, and the son that was talking about his father. Um, was incredible. I'm like, there was 4 children, I guess, or they're not children, they're 4 adults, but they had like 15 postgraduate degrees again within themselves, them four. And it was just because the dad was really intentional. He just worked hard and he went to church. And when I saw the church and the community and all the old people there and they all knew each other and it was cute. I'm like, I would love to be able to die and know that I left my family within these walls, you know? Whether people talk or don't, that's none of my problem. They're still there present and they still love because they're there for God. And that's what I mean, that's the only reason why we're even here. And what a waste of time, I think sometimes. Oh my God. It's because it hurts so much, dude. Why? It's okay. You know
Why
why, God.
fight? Yeah, yeah.
He's good.
Thank you, Javier, for this episode. Do you have any final words for the audience?
God is good. And go to your therapist. Therapy is amazing, especially if they don't have any. underlining like judgmental,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, and I think any therapist, if they want to, and I think most should, because that's what they're doing, right? Therapy, like trying to educate others. We'll get to this point. I mean, you know, to the point of understanding and seeing like the whole picture the way you see it and the way I kind of see it. And I just got it from being part of. I've never taken any courses or anything to be educated, and just from what I've learned and what I've lived with, and I ask so many questions, you know, so many questions to get it, and it's I've gotten here. And you know what? I still struggle with different problems as far as in with my relationship, and nothing's perfect. And again, seasons. It always is through seasons. Um, Also, when one person changes, sometimes the other person doesn't change, or other people around you don't change. So you have to be very consistent with yourself, very focused on, again, the discernment to be able to stay aligned to your choices and to those opportunities that'll keep you healthy. Because people like I was an addict, and now you're doing the same exact thing that you used to do to me when I was an addict, and I'm no longer an addict. How does that happen? Your brain wants to be like, well, fuck it then. Let me go get a little something. I don't give up, you know? I have that sometimes too. And it's like, no, no, I am stronger because they don't have the control of how I show up. They show up however they show up because that's their circle and that's okay. We give them grace, right? But they can't control how my worthiness. They can't control what I'm feeling, what I'm doing, you know? And it's again a part of the stimulus and then again knowing your worth, not putting it on other people because that's heavy for other people as well. You know, if you show up ugly, then I'm unworthy and I'm going to be aggressive and I'm going to go use drugs. No. So it's all part of the show. But the therapists are there and they're willing to help us, you know, and if anybody has a question, I feel like they could always ask ChatGPT, and how the person drives the ChatGPT also. That's a thing.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that advice and those words of wisdom. We do have an episode, it's episode 5, and it's called My Experiences with Therapists and Tips on Finding One. So you could check that out. It's really important to make sure that if you have a therapist that you feel safe, right? But then it's also important to notice like, well, if I've had a lot of trauma and a lot of attachment wounds and things like that, it can be tricky to feel safe in your body, but having faith really matters as well. We also have episode 12, which is Conversations with a Sex Addiction Therapist. And we have episode 14, which is Living in the Extremes, Limerence, Love Addiction, and Love Avoidance. So, two addiction specialists that we've had so far on the podcast, and y'all are welcome to check those out too if you're interested.
I always tell my therapist, like, no me dejes, because we always need people around us that are proactive and healthy for us because it's really easy to get sidetracked, you know? And
It
not because
is.
to relapse, but sidetracked, you get lost and you start remembering or start thinking that you're unworthy and that you're not worth. Like you start going, because again, it was so trained to us to be just nonchalant and not intentional that it's sometimes like, what? But having people like good people around you, and thank God you got to be my friend. My therapist, her name is Jessica. I'm like, dude, you should be my friend. You'd like, you know more than me than like most people. She's like, you know, conflict of interest, da, 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 and that's respectful. So thank God you don't have to disappear.
Yeah, that we're friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thank God for that. And I do reach out to people. That's something that I learned early on. My dad read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and I still haven't made my way through that book, but he really taught me to like listen, if you're thinking about someone, message them. If you feel like saying something kind to them, say it, right? Because we are all just kind of floating and most people don't actually receive that. And I know that the messaging is like, oh, you're doing too much. Don't do that. That's too vulnerable. And like, if you want to live that life, go ahead. Also, I know that when I reach out to somebody, hey, just thinking of you, they really appreciate it. And it's because I was on their mind or I have an answer that they were seeking or vice versa. And so we're all connected.
Yeah. And again, we can't live our life giving out energy to everybody, but if you're thinking about them, there's something there. Again, it's nothing, no thing is really a coincidence. There's a purpose for a lot of these things that are happening.
100.
Mhm. It really is.
Good.
I think
Thank
so.
Me too. Thank you so much, Javier, for being a guest with us today. I really appreciate it. And I wish you the best. And
Thank you. Stay in contact with me.
I will.
Don't let us get, don't let us die.
Thank you so much for listening. And we appreciate your time and we'll see you next
Bye.
time.
Thank you guys.